If you're new here, I'm Catherine. I run a business part-time while managing health challenges, and AI is the reason I can do that. This channel is for complete beginners, not the tech savvy. Everything is live and real and starts from zero. Now, in the last 3 videos, we signed up for Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT. If you haven't done that yet, go back and watch those first. These are all at the moment still the free accounts. So now you've got 3 free AI accounts and you're still exploring which one to invest in initially. Remember, you're not tied to any of them. The question is, what do you actually do with them? So here are 7 things I'd recommend starting straight away. And one of the first ones is to always start a new chat for a new topic. For any of them. Now, when you log back into them, you can see actually we're not in the previous chats from the previous videos, but they are sitting there, so you can go back to those. It's starting you in a new chat, but it's always worth checking that it's done that because they can be a little bit temperamental. Which moves us on to tip 2, and ask each tool what's new and make this a regular habit, whether you're on the free or paid. And I've got some prompts ready to use as examples. I'm going to run them through all 3 of them. First one into Gemini, and I will submit that one. Now, if you're like me and you're using paid accounts, you'll then be asking it a different context because it says here, I'm using a free account. Ultimately, you want to adjust what you're asking about the updates. And actually, at times you can ask about, once it's got to know your business, you can ask about relevancy of updates, because the updates are just happening so quickly, but it doesn't mean to say all of them are relevant to you. So let me get that one going. I've got one for Claude. Now, Claude is having huge issues with the free accounts just because so many people are signing up to Claude at the moment and have been doing for the last few weeks. But let's see if that works today. And then I'll get one for ChatGPT as well. Pop that one in and send that. In each one, I've mentioned free user, free plan, free capabilities. So let those run. And then you can have a look through those yourself. Memory now free. So yeah, so you can have a look through the answers that comes back. I'll leave that there because it's going to keep it in my list of chats anyway as something you can always go back to. Which moves me on to the next one about learning the interfaces themselves. And I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, to use screenshots to learn the interface and understand what it's all about. And I think a lot of people skip these. We kind of tend to just go straight into it. But I'm very much a person that wants to understand what I'm actually using, and there's lots of different features. So what I will do with Gemini, if you're on a Mac, as I mentioned last time, you can use Command Control Shift 4 for copy only. It's Command and Shift 4 to save a screenshot, but 80% of the time I'm using copy only. And when I'm using a saved screenshot, I have a folder called temp screenshots, if I'm wanting to explore something in more depth that I want to save. So for this purpose, Command Control Shift 4. And one of the things I might want to ask it is about exploring gems. Now I'm going to, as I said, start a new chat and paste that in. So Control V, copy only. So it's not put it anywhere. So you'll need to use your Control or Command V straight away. You could combine it with asking it about other features. So if I wanted to ask, I tend to do one at a time, but let me give you an example of what you can also do once you've pasted that one in. You can add another one, and you see there you can click on it to see what it's going to be looking at. I wouldn't recommend doing it this way, but just for demonstration, 3 screenshots. But ultimately, I would be doing these separately because I'm wanting to ask it different things. And again, you can do that with lots more things, even from your settings, your Google account and settings as well. And then you can ask, can you explain the features in this interface from these screenshots? We'll just start with that one. You can add more detail, obviously. And the beauty of this, particularly for those of you with kind of those cognitive health challenges that impair cognition, the last thing I want to be doing is describing what I'm looking at. If I can just immediately just take a screenshot, copy only screenshot and throw it in and say, this is exactly what I'm looking at. Can you explain it? So Gemini started straight away explaining. And again, since you're currently in the free tier, some of the options. So actually it's coming back with what's available to you in the free tier, what you can do with each of them. I think when we went to this, it talked about Google AI Plus requires an upgrade. So again, you're going to get information that's relevant to how you're using it on whether you have a paid plan or not. The next one, tip 4, is tell it who you are. So when you're starting with these tools, all of them, they're going to know very little about you. So you need to tell it who you are. Let me start a new chat again. And let me copy and paste another one. So you might want to tell, this is an example again, I run a small dog grooming business. I don't, but I'm just pretending I do. I work part-time, I'm not technical. You can continue. I have just started using this tool and I would like it to support my business. You could also ask it to interview you so that it starts to get some information and context for its memory. What would be most helpful for you to know? We'll just try that one. And again, you can do exact same in the other two as you can with that. And I've started a new chat. So each of them, again, have named their own chats. Pleasure meeting you, running a small business in a beautiful, busy city. To be the best possible digital assistant for your business, I don't need to understand the code. I just need to understand your daily routine. So again, it's letting you know actually what would be helpful. And a lot of these tools come back with questions. So it's very much continues to be that conversation that I'd mentioned in the first videos. Tip 5, bring a real task, not a test. So don't ask, write me a poem. Bring a tricky email, a social media post, rewording your website bio. So you learn faster when the output matters. And again, starting a new chat because it's a new type of topic. And you could, there's still kind of, oh, it's popped up again with things. Just want to ignore those. Starting a new chat, you could start off by saying, again, you're thinking about confidentiality in your business as well. So you're not putting in names and email addresses, but you could start by saying, I have received an email about XXX. And I'm not sure how best to respond. So give it some detail again. You don't have to, if it's particularly, it's got details in it that you don't want to share with AI, that's absolutely fine. But give it as much detail as you feel comfortable sharing, and it can help you write that. So I'll delete that just now. tip 6 at the moment, while you're still deciding which one to try first, ask the same question to all three. So pick one real task, ask all three, and you'll quickly discover which one suits your thinking style. They genuinely do have different personalities, and you will find all over the internet people kind of drawing you to, oh, you must use this and you must use that, and I love using this, and I love using Claude Code, but that doesn't mean to say other people are going to like using it. And the final tip 7, name your chats. And I've mentioned this before. It's helpful to actually think about renaming conversations immediately. I, at the very beginning, hadn't been renaming my chats, and yeah, it became very messy. And I also realized that I was forgetting to go back and name them. So unless I did that immediately, that was important. So let's actually look at the dog groomers example, because with this one, um, you're actually letting it know about your business. So you could rename that, how can Gemini support my business? You need to think about the words you use for searching, because ultimately, when you're using your search chats, you're thinking about, again, what kind of thing you can search for. Again, you might not want to necessarily rename the whole thing, so you could even cut that down a bit. Gemini features explained instead of the full thing. And that's more about, you might want to again rename that free Gemini updates. We can remove new features, and actually the free Gemini updates is probably more than enough. So things like that you can do, and then it's just so much easier. So I hope that's helpful for some tips, and in the next video we'll be moving over to using Gemini in a paid account as an example. It's actually a nice one for me to do because I'm a Claude Code user. So I will pretty much be learning Gemini along with you, which is quite nice because for your business, that's probably where a lot of people are, um, have Gemini, and have Gemini as part of their business accounts. So I will see you in the next one.